Okay? Here's a secret for you. There are also mental antes. I don't know about any other game, but I do know what it's about: thoroughbred horse racing, handicapping, and value capping. There are mental antes. Sometimes, oh, by the way, if you lose too many mental bets, you know what happens. All right. Sometimes we feel that we must play a race. We get invested mentally. Like the upcoming Triple Crown and prep races, for example. Now, yes, I'll do something, but very often the Derby is a complete puzzle. Very often the prep races are complete and utter puzzles. And yet, we are asked, people know that we like horses. Who do you like in the Derby? And so then we start thinking about it. Well, who do I like in the Derby? In other words, hey, you have to bet this race. It's like the casino saying, put your money up, you have to play this hand. Once you play, I don't care. Yeah, I've given you, whatever, a bad hand in blackjack is a 10 and a 5. Okay, there, I've given you this hand. You don't have to do that. But yet we get emotionally invested, mentally invested in these races. Okay, and we feel like we must bet them. That's like putting up a mental ante. Oh, I got to bet the Derby. Yeah, who says? No one's going to come to your house and say, excuse me, Mr. Pizzola, yes. Notice that you bet quite a lot on the Derby last year. Yeah, it was, whatever it was, $1,600. Yeah, okay, fine. You haven't bet this year. Well, yeah, but I don't see a good bet in it. Well, I'm going to have to ask you to come downtown. No one's going to do that, okay? You can sit in a race book all day, and as long as you tip the cocktail waitress who is bringing you your green tea, they'll let you sit there without betting. I have never gotten thrown out of a race book by betting too few races. Yet, when these big races come up, we get mentally and emotionally invested in these races. And listen, when you handicap a race in advance, mental anteing can also happen as well. I know I do it myself. On the Wizards Forum, we have the Saturday roundtable, right? And so we all discuss. Sam puts up a thread, and we all talk about the upcoming races. Now, something happens when we handicap a race in advance. We get a view of that race. When we expose our thinking about it so others can comment on it, I'll, sometimes comment on it, and I'll put in my 2 cents about the races that I'm looking at. But something happens that we get, okay, this is my race, and this is my horse. And we mentally ante up on that race. Okay? We want to feel, look at me. And some people say, well, I'm sorry, I didn't, my horse didn't run. Well, hey, welcome to the club. In most cases, your horses will not win the race. That's just the truth of it. The good news is you don't need that many winners. That's the truth is. Okay? So when we handicap the races in advance and we fall in love with a race or a horse, that's another way where we've mentally anteed up. We feel sometimes that we must bet that race. Well, I put them out on the forum. Or, I know this horse is going to win. And then we get to the race book or to the racetrack, and we look up, and guess what? The public has found our horse. It's 5-2. Now, it's fine if the price is right, and you say, yeah, you know what? This is a lone closer. This is a heavy pressure race. I feel really good about this, and the price is right. Fine. But it's terrible if the price is not there. And here's another thing, Wizards. It can lead to a blind spot. If you're fixated on one particular horse to play, you may just say, oh, well, I don't have my price, bye-bye, and there might be another horse in your top horses, in your above random cluster, in the horses with a low black magic odds line that is a tremendous value. But because we've anteed up mentally, we are blind to that. You don't have to ante, and by that I mean you don't have to bet a race and you don't have to get emotionally involved with the race. Here's the deal. It's really simple. You simply bet when everything seems right to you and not otherwise. The biggest difference between the professional and the hobbyist, between the professional and the amateur, is that the amateur wants to bet too many races. They want to figure the races out. They want to dig into races and look at all the minutiae, and they want to try to dig out a bet. They are trying to bet. Oh, I got to get some action here. You see this in the old days, before computer technology, when we had one racing form and we had one track to bet, and so we had 9 races in front of us, and then we take apart these races. This is why those on the Wizards forum who have the unlimited downloading, this is why you have a huge advantage. There's too much to try to look at 200 races in a day, so you get to cherry pick the absolute best. You know, those who are looking at one track, or, you know, I got to bet this is my home track after all. Well, come on, stop it. You know, I've got to bet Belmont because that's where I grew up and that's where I came up with all this stuff. Oh, yeah, so what? Merry Christmas, Michael. I don't care if it's at Beulah. I don't care if it's at Sam Houston, Prairie Meadows. I don't care if it's at Evangeline Down. I don't care where it is. But if you say, oh, I've got to bet Belmont because it's the only track I download, and it's the only, or I just do it by hand and get a racing form, and I look at Belmont because I know Belmont, you know, then you go looking for horses. Come on, it's not professional. It's digging. You get to dig, oh, I've only got 9 races. I got to get some action. I got to find a bet. No, you don't. The professional is reluctant to bet unless everything seems right. Now, part of that seeming right is, hey, you know what? I know this horse has a flaw. I know, for example, he's on a layoff. But I also know I'm getting a tremendous price. So that seems right to me to bet that. I'm betting that he's ready. Who knows if he's ready? But at 20 to 1, I think he's ready. See, the professional level value capper can play tight and aggressive. And here's the good news. You can play tight and aggressive without an ante. Now, with a good odds line, actually with good odds lines, you can usually know, like that, at a glance, whether there's a potential value investment. You know, pretty quickly. When you look up at the top and your opinion of the race agrees with the morning line makers, for example, and if you're using value technology where you have a line that tries to discern what the public should do with the race, and, you know, it's all in agreement, come on. You don't go digging in those races. Now, sometimes at a glance, you'll see, hey, wait a minute, they're all off layoffs. Or, hey, wait a minute, one of them just had a really tough race after a long layoff, and they're going to bet the heck out of him. Yeah, maybe you can look at those races, but in most cases, you don't go digging. And with the way Black Magic is set up, you can see this in an instant. Like Black Gold says in the forum, Bob Harris says in the forum. You just look at it, no, next. Or, as Bob likes to do it, as the Imperial King sending someone away to their doom, away with you. You don't look at it. You think about the gunslingers in the Old West. The good ones, the ones that survived, gunslinger doesn't go looking for fights. Okay? He knows pretty quickly if there's trouble or if there's not, or if a guy's just mouthing off and being drunk. Okay? Pretty quickly, at a glance. And he doesn't draw his gun unless it's absolutely necessary. And that's the way you should think about these. If there's trouble, oh yeah, draw and shoot. Get up and bet. A trouble in our case is the public handing you a nice, juicy value bet overlay. But you don't ante up either with money or with mental energy, unless it's necessary. Unless the bet is making you. My signature on the forum, there's that quote from the Frenchman's, I don't know how to say his name, Saint-Exupéry. I should know that, but I don't. But he said, and the reason I know the quote is from Ernest Jones, the great golf teacher, who said that perfection is achieved not when there is nothing left to add to your game or to your swing or to your value capping or handicapping. Perfection is achieved not when there is nothing left to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. Or as I say it, you bet if and when the bets make you. So the bets that make you are that where you have nothing to think about, worry about. It just says yes. Getting rid of the mental anteing, getting rid of the betting too many races, betting when the bet makes you, not looking for bets, not like a gunslinger doesn't look for trouble, but he's ready for it. So should you be, not looking to get involved in the race, but absolutely ready if the bet makes you and everything seems right. And that, wizard, that's the biggest difference. I want to thank you so much for joining me. I'd love to hear your comments. I know this is that many who, think about handicapping and value, we want to hear about technique and, what do you do with a horse that lost lengths in the stretch? Okay. Yes, of course we can talk about this. But this mindset, you've got to come to grips with. You must. It's the biggest difference, not only between the professional and the amateur, but between profits and no profits. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your involvement with the Wizards Forum. It is a constant joy to talk with you about this great game. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate your commitment, your involvement, your support of each other. Most of all, I thank you beyond my ability to say in words. So that's it for now. Michael Pizzola here. Let the bet make you, and please enjoy yourself. Until next time, see you soon.